I did a video back in October about this and the whale, both from CJ, and the video was really fun because halfway through it, Lisa took over because I wasn't doing a good job. We're gonna do the whole video this way now?
No, I just want to know if you want me to do this one since I read instructions.
I don't want this video to be 4 hours long if you're gonna read instructions.
Well, I learned from your mistake from the last time, so I can probably do it.
All right, hotshot, do it.
Oh, shit.
I promise that was not planned. Anyway, in that video, we were trying to decide whether we wanted to bring in one or both of these filters to carry on our website. If you haven't figured it out already, we picked up the Space Eko. Both of these filters are really good, and if I'm being honest, we'll probably pick up the whale at some point in the future, but there's a few reasons why we chose this one over the whale, and that's what I want to talk about in this video. I do a lot of product reviews on this channel. It's actually one of my favorite things to do. So if you're into that kind of thing, or really anything aquarium related, I'm going to recommend that you subscribe to this channel. And while you're doing that, put in the comments down below any other products you'd like to see me review. It doesn't have to be only products that we carry on our website. I'll review anything. Just let me know what you want to see. All right, let's talk about what comes in the box. And by the way, if you want to see the full installation process and stuff like that, I'll put a link in the pinned comment to that video that we talked about earlier. It was a lot of fun. Lisa installed one, I installed one. It was a good time. If you want to know how to put one of these in, that's the video that you're going to want to watch. But to go through real quick what comes with it, hose, the filter. I want to do this quick because we went through it in the last one. 2 extension hoses, we'll talk about these. The brackets that go over top of the aquarium and actually provide the water to the aquarium and take the water away. All of the good little hookups for the plumbing, suction cups, and the little feet. And did I mention the filter? This filter is available in 3 different sizes, the smallest being the 100, which is for about a 30-gallon aquarium. That's going to come with 2 of the media trays on the inside. The other 2 have 3, but the smallest only has 2 of the trays. It's going to process about 145 gallons of water per hour. We are going to talk in detail about that in a minute. So you got a smaller tank, something not over the top. You want to get an absolutely silent filter. This is where you're going to want to go. It's not crazy to put a canister filter on a 29-gallon aquarium. In fact, I did a video all about that too. I put a card up in the corner for that. The second is the 200. Yes, I am referring to notes because I'm an old man and I can't remember all of these numbers. The 200 is for about a 50-gallon aquarium. Could you stretch it and put it on a 55? Yeah, you probably could, depending on what you have in the tank. And again, the things with the gallons per hour that we're going to talk about in a minute, it's all going to depend on your circumstances. But the 200 is going to process 190 gallons per hour. So be aware of that. You want to turn your tank over 3.5, 4 times per hour. That's going to do that for you. And then if it's a 50-gallon, by the way, yeah. So then we have the big dog, which is this one here, which is the 300. The 300 is going to process 240 gallons per hour. So it is rated for up to an 80-gallon aquarium. I've never seen an 80-gallon aquarium. Most of you are going to put this on like a 75-gallon, and that is going to be perfectly fine. If there's such thing as an 80-gallon tank out there, be curious to see that. But we've got to talk about the gallons per hour because that is a big thing in canister filters. And if I'm being honest, a lot of people are misled by the numbers that are put on these. I'm not saying that the manufacturers are being dishonest. I'm just saying they're not giving you all of the information. And here's what I mean. This filter and all canister filters, okay? I don't care what the brand is. CJ is one of the best brands out there. Yes, I am a CJ fanboy, but they are one of the best brands out there. But I don't care if it's Eheim, Fluval, Marineland, all the other brands, they all do this. So this is certainly not something that CJ is guilty of and nobody else. When they tell you the gallons per hour that these filters process, that's basically with no restrictions. What are restrictions? The media trays that are inside, with the sponges and with all of the media that the filter has to pull that water through. That's a restriction. The hoses are a restriction. If you have the longest hose possible because for whatever reason you want to put your filter on the other side of the room, don't do that. But if you wanted to do something like that, your filter is going to perform much, much less than what the advertised gallons per hour is. So you need to understand that every single thing you do to this filter is going to slow down the gallons per hour. Now, it should still be totally fine with all of the media and everything in there. They wouldn't sell it otherwise. All I'm saying is, if you are one of those people that has some kind of fancy gallons per hour meter, and this thing is supposed to process 240 gallons, and you put it on your tank and you put your meter on there and it's only doing 215, it's because of all of the other stuff. It's not because the filter is faulty. Don't panic and start writing CJ and making complaints to me. Every single restriction that you put on these, whether it's hoses, media, extra sponges, extra everything, we all like to do extra everything. When you do that, you are going to slow down the gallons per hour. Does that mean you shouldn't do it? No, you should put whatever in these things you want to put in there. Just understand it's going to affect the efficiency a little bit. I wanted to do something a little different today and bring you out to the warehouse. We're talking about a product. Hey, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? So, but I didn't realize how difficult this was going to be when I don't have a table to sit at to put all of this stuff. I'm just going to have to work my way through it. But anyway, hope you appreciate the difference in atmosphere. I don't know, maybe I'll do this Sunday's video this way too, but let's talk about some things that I like about this filter and talk about the reasons why I chose this over the whale. The whale is a great filter. In fact, the larger whale processes a lot more water than this one does. I didn't go for the gallons per hour. That wasn't the big selling point for me. What I wanted to go for was ease of maintenance, efficiency, cost, everything all put into one. Now, both the whale and this filter are dead nuts silent, folks. Both of them are. They are as quiet as can be. Canister filters are pretty much known for that. But CJ, everybody knows CJ's pumps are the best in the world. They're super quiet. They're super efficient. When you put those in a canister filter like this, they're going to be super quiet. So they're all that way. But so that doesn't really have anything to do with why we chose this one, because they're both that way. But why I did choose this, there is a few things. First, now this is not, the filter's not broken. It's just really difficult when everything's dry and brand new. It's difficult to open this up. I've never opened this filter before. I just took this out of the box here for you. So once you get it all lubed up with water, and you know, once it's got some use, little pop off, no problem at all. This is one of the biggest selling points to this filter right here. It's something, it's to me an advantage that it has over the whale and a lot of canisters out there. It is the fact that it has this. You can pull all of the media out in one shot. You don't have to pull each individual tray. When you go to maintain this filter or any canister filter, unless it's the fluval and you drain it first, you're going to be sticking your hand in that nasty water. Now, we're used to that. We're fish keepers. But, you know, if you can do without putting your hand in a bucket that's full of fish poop, then that would be a good thing. And the fact that you can reach in here and not drop it, don't do that. But reach in there, pull all three of these out at one time, maybe transfer it over to a bucket, carry it over to your sink or whatever, or just carry the whole daggone thing over to the sink. It doesn't weigh a ton when it's full of water. I really like that a lot. It just makes it a little bit easier. We're talking about fractions of a minute that you're going to save by having this, but I don't know. That's one of those things that jumped out at me as something that I really liked about this. Each one of these trays is just, you don't need to screw anything together, or they just sit and twist, sit and spin. Remember those? That's all you do for these. So it's very, very simple to access your media. Comes with the carbon. Comes with 2 different types of sponges. You get the white type of polishing pad kind of thing, and then the blue coarse sponge. Lisa struggled getting this thing together, and it was kind of funny in that video. She was like, this is so easy, but yet I'm making it look so difficult. Anyway, that is a huge thing for me. I love that all of these are connected. If you're wondering what's in the top, we've got the final kind of polishing pad, filter floss, whatever it is that you want to call it, as well as the full complement of the Seche rings. As much of a Seche fanboy as I am, you think I would know the name of that media material, but I don't. So there you go. It's biomedia. That's all that you need to know. All comes together in this adorable little stack. I like that. You get it all cleaned up, you stick it back in the bucket, and you're ready to go. Next thing I like, I've got friends over at Fluval. They're going to be upset with me when I say this, because they just are. But it's a fact. To get the lid off of any of the FX6 or FX series, it's a pain in the butt. We all know that. So the fact that this filter has these little clips, 1, 2, 3, 4, the lid is on, it's secure. That is another like high point of this for me. I love the fact that this does that. FX filters, I've got several of them. We've got 2 FX6s running and 1 FX4. Love them. They're great filters. You barely ever have to touch them. You just fill them full of stuff. You plug them in and you just go, and it's great. So you don't have to take the lid off of it much. You won't have to take the lid off this much either. But when you do have to take the lid off of the FX6, it's a bear. There's 75 knobs across the top, and they're really tight, and I hate that part of that filter. It's probably the only knock I have on that filter. Other than that, it's a phenomenal filter. But this one, you can have the lid off of this thing in 20 seconds, and I don't care how strong you are. It doesn't matter. It's just 4 little switches. Boom, it's done. I like that. The other thing, and again, really regretting not sitting at a table to do this, I really like this quick disconnect. And I've used this multiple times in my testing of these filters. And the nice thing about it is when you flick this little switch, when you pull this out, everything shuts off. So when you pull this out, you don't get this giant whoosh of water coming through it. That doesn't happen. You pull this out, pull this up, and your filter's disconnected from the hoses that go up to your aquarium. You can carry this to your bathtub, to your slop sink, to your mom's house, wherever you want to take it, and you can clean it out. And it is very, very simple. Once you bring it back, you stick this back in, you flick that little switch, plug it in, boom, you're ready to go. Now the inputs and the outputs are perfectly fine. I mean, they're the same ones on the Whale and the Space Eko, and they're fine. I mean, are they like this big groundbreaking thing? No. I don't know that anybody's done anything groundbreaking in the aquarium industry in a very long time, but they work and they work efficiently. They're easy to use. You really can't go wrong there. This one is the input. So you will put this on the end. It's nice and clear, which I like. Eheim uses green. Eheim, why do you do that? Fluval uses black. To me, black or clear is going to be the best. I don't know. Do you have a preference? It really doesn't matter to me. But I do think that a big giant green hose, I think that's pretty ugly. But anyway, you do have a primer on the top of this. And the purpose of this primer is to fill the container with water, get all of the hoses, get everything all filled up with water before you turn it on. If you don't do that, your pump might be trying to pump air because it's not all completely full of water. There's a bunch of air pockets in there and stuff like that. And pumps do not like not having water going through them, even if it is a Seche pump. So you're going to want to make sure that the entire system is full of water, and this little doohickey here does that for you. It might look like something silly. In fact, I made a joke about it in the video that I did with Lisa when she was doing this. Anyway, take that for what you will. A few pumps of this is usually all it takes to get the water going down into the canister. It will get it filled up. And then when you plug it in, boom, it'll start. It'll purge all of the air out of it on its own, whatever's left in there, and then you'll be good to go. It's one of the most difficult things with almost all canister filters is the priming of the filter. A lot of people look at it as a huge hassle, and they look at the fluvels and they say, well, you don't have to prime the fluvels. And yeah, that's true. You have to prime this one and pretty much every other canister filter out there. It's not a big deal. You're going to have water in the canister because when you're done doing your maintenance, you're going to fill it back up with water and you're going to put it under your tank, hook the hoses back up, do this a couple times, and then fire it up, and it's going to be good to go. It's not like this long, drawn-out process. So, and it's nice, you know, when it's not being used for that thing, it just looks like a nice little knob there. Then the output, you do have a flow adjustment on the top here. Very slick little knob there. The only thing I wish they would have done differently, CJ, if you're listening, I know you've been making this filter for like how many years, but still, you know, if you're ever going to do a redesign like Apple does with their phones every year, make this look like that. Why wouldn't you do that? Make this be the exact same little doohickey thing that this is. That this is. You understand what I'm saying? Make this look like that. It makes sense, right? I don't know. Now, you do get these 4 rings. This is another thing that I'm going to tell you is huge. These little rings here go on the end of the hose, and then you connect it to the piece, and then once it's connected, you pop it right up. You don't plop it, you pop it right up. It secures everything. If you watch that video, again, I did a little test where I connected the two together and then I pulled them apart. It took almost everything I had and I cut myself really bad when I did that. I would not recommend anybody to do that, but these things hold extremely well. They are watertight and I think it's genius. You don't have to screw anything in. You don't have to cut anything except for the hose when you cut it to length. But when it comes to connecting them to the connectors, you don't have to do anything. You don't need any tools. You put them together, you snap it, boom, it's done. Very easy for you, and that is the number one thing for me. And then now you have the little return piece. You put it on here, it directs the water the way you want it to go. You can direct it this way, and then you can also turn this nozzle to spray the water this way, spray the water that way, spray it up, spray it down, whatever you want to do. So it's fully adjustable. It's very easy to adjust. I like that a lot. If you were seeing my little display of what all of the parts are that come with it, the 4 suction cups are for these to hold them in place on the back of your tank. And then the other 4 little buttons, these are for the bottom of the tank. They just press in and they provide a nice little rubber cushion for the filter to sit on. All right, the first thing I like about this, I like the way it looks. It looks like an Apple product. It's very fancy. Makes it attractive. Maybe you don't have an enclosed cabinet and people are going to be able to see this under your tank or behind it or whatever. It looks nice. It's not a big, intrusive, giant 5-gallon bucket with red and white. No, it's just a nice, sleek little thing. I think it's going to look good under anybody's cabinet. I already talked about, I love the filter trays, how they just pull right out. They're easy. You don't need tools. It's simple. You can pull them all out at once. I love that. I love how the head where the pump is attaches to the big bucket. I like that a lot. Again, we already talked about that. I like how easy it is to install. And this is one of the things that, you know, it has to play a role. If I'm going to choose to bring a filter in, has to be easy for my customers to install. And if you saw that video, you saw me going into it knowing nothing about this filter. I just basically took it out of the box. It was actually the Whale, which is very, very similar. And I just screwed everything up. But I didn't screw anything up permanently. It was easy enough to get it all working the right way. But if I would have read the instructions, I would have had a whole lot easier time. And the instructions come in like 9 different languages. So there's no excuse not to read those. But I'm the kind of guy that just goes for it. And sometimes I pay the price. But Lisa installed one of these. And it was the 300, as a matter of fact, onto her 125-gallon discus tank. I know the filter's not big enough for that, but there's 2 other filters on that tank too. And it was super easy for her to do. Again, first time ever playing around with it. She did that by herself. And Lisa is not a mechanically inclined person. She's the kind of person, it's like, if I can't fix it with a butter knife, if I can't take a knife and just go like this and fix it, I'm just going to ask John. That's how she is. I love that woman, but she's not the most technically inclined. She installed this thing in no time. Watch that video if you want to see it. So anybody can install it. It's not difficult to maneuver because it's not huge. It's easy to install, easy to maintain because you can pull all of those out. I mean, what else do you need, really? I mean, it's easy, it's efficient. It has the best water pump manufacturer on earth that makes not only the pump that's inside of this, but the entire filter. These are handmade in Italy. They don't come from anywhere else. They come from Italy. So that's, I've made videos about CJ products in the past, and people have put in the comments, oh, that's junk China stuff. And I'm like, it's in their logo, made in Italy. I don't know. Anyway, but I love that. I love the fact that it's made in Italy. I've always, what kid has not dreamt of having an Italian supercar someday? I will never have one, even if I did have the money, but I love any and all things Italy. Look at me. I eat quite a bit of pizza. Thank you for that, Italy. So I love the company that makes this. I love how efficient it is. I love how quiet it is. I love how easy it is to install, how easy it is to maintain. And does it filter the water? Yes, of course it does. And it does a great job of that. I have not found a canister filter on the market that I would say is bad. Like, ooh, that's horrible. They all do a great job. But when you have the best pump manufacturer on earth that makes the pump for this thing and it's handmade in Italy, you know it's going to be a fine product. Their standards are way beyond ours in the United States. So those are all the things that I love about it. What do I not like about it? Well, they're minor, silly little things that I don't like about it. One is, like I said, it's nitpicking, I know, but I wish these matched. I wish the flow control was just a little easier, and it would be if it was one of these little jobs here. I wish it was that, and I don't like the scenario that happens with the little feet on the bottom. I've never talked to anybody at CJ about that, and I know everybody on the American side of CJ. I haven't really talked about that. I'd love to see that addressed at some point. Is it a deal breaker? No, absolutely not. I love these. We've got 3 of them running in the fish house right now. If I was going to set up a filter or an aquarium in my house and it was an 80-gallon or smaller, I would absolutely use this because it is dead nuts quiet. If you know anything about me, you know I don't like the sound of water movement if I'm sitting there trying to watch a ball game. It makes me have to pee. I don't want to hear that. It's too much. You will not hear a thing from this filter unless you allow your water to get too low because you're lazy and you're not doing your maintenance and the water is shooting out and it's causing that waterfall. That's your fault, not the filter's fault. So that's it. I mean, I love just about everything about this. Uh-oh, I found one more thing. I forgot. I don't want to avoid this. This extra piece here. This is a good thing, but it's also not, because the return piece, your little nozzle. Now, all right, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me explain what this thing is. Well, I already showed you. You have your input, right? That's what the first hose is for. Well, you get a second one, and that second one is so that you can drop the return. This is, am I saying it wrong? This is your input. This is where your fun little plunger for your primer is. This is where the water is coming in and going to the filter. When it comes out of the filter, it comes through this and it sends it back to the aquarium. Now, you will use this, I have it backwards. You'll use this almost every single time in your regular aquarium. This is how you'll have it. But if you have an aquarium where the water is low, Lisa has one of those, and we have that pond that I put this filter on, you can use this because your water's lower. You can have this in there to bring the return all the way down. But here's where the problem is, because this doesn't fit on this. And I hit up CJ and I said, how dare you? How dare you not do that? Is it a big deal? No, because most people that use this and use this whole thing are going to be using it in turtle tanks. They wanted this to be for aquariums and turtle tanks. So with a turtle tank, it doesn't really matter. Just have it sitting down just like that with no nozzle on it at all. That's how I have it in my goldfish pond in the fish house. I have it that way. I just have it like this. There's nothing on there, and it's not a big deal at all. So that's what this is for. And it is a thing that I like, but it's something that I don't like that. I wish this worked a little better, but it just doesn't. So there you go. I don't know if you figured it out by now, but I love this filter. And because I love this filter, we decided to bring it in on the website. We put them up right before Black Friday, and we sold a whole ton of them because everybody was excited about it from that other video that I did, and they wanted to take advantage of Black Friday sales. Unfortunately, those are not going on anymore, but we do have these. We have plenty of them in stock. We can only keep so many because they're huge and they take up so much room, but we have plenty of them for you, and if we go out of stock, we can get more very, very fast. So if you're interested in one of these, it's not the easiest filter in the world to find. Don't even include Amazon in the equation. We don't want to order off of Amazon, right? We don't want to do that. They're ruining the aquarium industry. So we want to order this from somebody other than Amazon. And I would love if one of those could be from me. But there are other online retailers that are selling it too. As long as you're buying it from them and not Amazon, I ain't going to be mad at you. So there you go. I hope I was able to show you a thing or two about this without talking your head off completely. I love this filter. And whenever I love something, it's very easy for me to just go and go and go and go all about it. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching this. Like I said, link will be in the description for this. In fact, I'll have it hopefully right under the video in that little slider thing. You can just click right there and order it. It's beautiful. Thank you, YouTube, for doing that. Thank you so much for watching this, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.